everybody. So, just went inside, ate breakfast, and I was sitting there, and I overheard a conversation. This guy, first of all, I've seen this guy a couple times, like walking around here at Salt Lake City. I don't know who he is. I don't know his name, but every time I see him, he's wearing a shirt that's too small for him. His gut is hanging out. He doesn't look like that big of a guy. But this time I saw him, he was walking in, and he was sitting down the table, and he had like a pizza with him. And he was like, I don't know, there was somebody with him, and like his stomach's just sticking out. Homeboy's just walking around, no problem. But anyways, I overheard a conversation while I was inside the, I don't know what you call it, the cafeteria, the dining area, whatever. So I was sitting there at the table, and they were talking about how Prime is just fired 400 people. And so I looked into it, and I found the safety video. I can't remember if I brought this up in a video or not, but I looked at the video, and it was from a safety video, and what Robert Lowe said was 400 trucks. He got rid of 400 trucks. Now the comments on that video, not necessarily, it wasn't the Prime video. I was watching it on another YouTuber's video. I believe it was Freight Skater. I don't remember, but I was reading the comments through there, and people, like, some of the stuff they were saying was like, I don't know, it was crazy. Like, because they talked about, Robert Lowe was talking about, well, I guess it was two different safety meetings, but he was saying that they were doing some construction, and they wanted to know what amenities we wanted to see, and he talked about getting rid of 400 people or 400 trucks, because he specifically said 400 trucks. And this was two different videos. And anyways, I was reading the comments, and the comments were kind of crazy, because they were like, oh, they only get construction, they get tax breaks or something from construction, and like all this shit. And I kind of agree with what they were saying. Not necessarily the whole tax break thing, but like, I'm not going to be able to use that shit. I'm a driver. I'm not like, man, I really want to go to Springfield and go sit in the quote-unquote theater room with the TV in it, like, it's just a TV with a bunch of seats. It's not even a fucking theater. Anyways, it was just funny, because so based on those videos, the comments were insane. If you get a chance, you should go read them if you can, if you find that video. But it was talking about, and I've seen this article like posted, like people are posting it all over like different trucking like Facebook groups, that Prime is firing all these people. Prime didn't fire anybody. They downsized the fleet by 400 trucks. Now, some people are saying, oh, that's a good thing. That means there's gonna be more freight available and blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, what were the trucks that were removed? That would be my next question. Like, tell me in detail what trucks were removed, because if it was just 400 trucks that weren't moving, or maybe they were old or whatever, more than likely they were just old, then they probably weren't being used anyway. And even if they were, let's say somebody had an older truck, turned that truck in, got a different truck, didn't change anything. It doesn't change that freight for that particular person. All you did was move 400 trucks. And I'm pretty sure that people aren't assigning loads to trucks that have nobody driving them or whatever, right? So how would deleting 400 trucks from the fleet help with the freight? That doesn't make sense to me. And I've seen comments that that's what's going on, and blah blah blah. Cool. If that's the way it is, 400 trucks, that's fine. But what I really hate is how not just Prime, but companies frame something to make it seem like it's in your best interest. I really, really hate that, and they do that because people fucking believe them. People will believe them that they're doing this because it's in their best interest. You guys got to stop doing that. You really got to stop doing that and stop believing all the shit that companies give you. So the reason why I wanted to make this video was I after I heard that, I came back to my truck, and I got it all cleaned out and everything. I came back to my truck and I looked it up. I wanted to look it up and see what they were talking about. I'm like, I didn't hear about people being laid off. That would have been a big deal, for a lot of people. So I looked into it, and again, 400 trucks. It was 400 trucks. Now, what they didn't go into detail was what trucks were removed. Like, what are they? Are they just old trucks that were sitting around? It was just stuff that was sitting around a yard that needed to be, sold off. What they really need to do is they need to do a better job of getting rid of these fucking trailers. Like, they need to clear up some space at these terminals. Like, like, people go to these terminals, and sometimes, like, some people don't go to terminals. They hate going to the terminals. Oh, they always find something wrong, and that's for the most part true. But sometimes it is nice to kind of stop for a day or two and grab something to eat and, relax and take hot showers and, and not have to worry about, like, all these other people, like these randoms, you get around and, like a pilots and loves and, man, it's fucking terrible. Anyways, sometimes it is kind of nice, but it is very, very hard to find parking, very, very hard to find parking. Now, is it because people are just taking their 34s there? Is that what's going on? Who knows? But, I really wish, I really wish that they would make some room, or stop letting people, like, if they don't have drivers for their fleets, they chose to be that fleet guy. If they don't have drivers for their fleet, they need to find another area to park their damn trucks. Because there's trucks there I've seen that are collecting dust and cobwebs, so, they've really got to do something about that. Honestly, even about that, I think Prime should also honestly help them. They should have something to help them find drivers for those trucks. Maybe it's going into orientation, or having some kind of, I don't know, some kind of place on the app, or somewhere where they can go on there and they can choose. Like, here are your options. You can go company, you can go lease, or you can drive for a mini fleet, and they can click on it, and then maybe it'll show mini fleet drivers that are looking for drivers, and they can go and look at the different advertisements and their contact information, and read the information about the truck. I mean, I really think that Prime could do a better job of helping these fleet owners find drivers. And I get it. Like, Prime wants them. I guess you could consider it their, like, competition, but really they're not. I mean, you would, because Prime makes money. It makes money too off these guys that have these little mini fleets, and so you would think it would still work out for Prime, and not everyone's going to want to drive for a mini fleet. Some guys will go lease, some guys will go company, So I'm just saying, I think they should have some tools for those guys. But yeah, this whole shit about Prime, downsizing the fleet as far as, like, people, like laying off people, it's just not true. People will believe anything, and that's why you go on Facebook and people, like, share all kinds of shit, just a good example is, you ever gone on Facebook and it's always like, oh, I found this dog and he was hit in the street, but you've seen that posted before, or, oh, this kid that got lost, he's homeless and blah blah blah, and his mom just dumped him and this and that, and you see multiple people posting it, and then over time you don't see it, then you see it posted all over again. It's like, god damn. Like, this kid can't get stopped. Like, doesn't this kid have gotten help in the last 8 fucking months? It's a scam. It's just a scam. But people will believe it. People will believe it and they'll share it. But what's going on is, once you share it, they're going to change the picture, change the whole thing, and now you just shared whatever scam they're trying to push. That's all it is. And but my point is, like, don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you read. Like, there's safety meetings every Friday, and for the most part, Robert Lowe, and I can't remember the other guy, Steve something or other. He's always down there. There's all kinds of bigwigs down there. If you really want to know the answer to something, why not fucking ask? Like, every Friday they have information. When he announced that, if you really wanted to know that bad, why didn't you raise your hand and ask? Or if you're not there, you can always ask on social media. Like, if you're watching it from the Prime group, you can ask questions, and they'll even tell them, hey, there's a question from such and such on this. So, or maybe if you don't get your question in, make a phone call. Call somebody. Like, I'm fairly sure you're gonna get your answer before you ever get to talk to Robert Lowe or whatever, if you're not at those safety meetings. I guess that goes hand in hand with the last video I just made, to ask questions. But it's pretty frustrating to keep seeing people like, oh, what's going on with their jobs? Are we gonna get fired? And all this bullshit. Like, no one's you're not getting fired. Like, all they did was remove some trucks. They slowed down the hiring process. I know that there's some states they're not taking people from, most notably Florida. So yeah, I mean, quit believing everything you read. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Think for yourself for a little bit. You know, if you really want to be in the know and you want to know what's going on, watch the safety meetings. You know, most of us are able to watch those meetings, even if you're driving. You know, a lot of times you can play it, and even if you don't want to watch it, you don't even really got to watch it because there's nothing going on. They're usually just standing around talking, so you don't even got to watch it. You could drive and listen to it. But even if you couldn't watch it when it was on, you could go back and watch it later on on YouTube, on the Prime group. Like, they post it everywhere. You know, so all that information is posted. You know, and multiple drivers from Prime that have YouTubes. You know, they have done they've done the same thing. You know, so again, you know, don't believe everything you read. Prime isn't laying off anybody. There's not some kind of big mass layoff and people are getting fired and none of that shit. All they did was slow down the hiring process. They slowed down hiring from a lot of states, you know, and that's really it. And honestly, they should have done that a long time ago. I mean, people have been calling for that for months. So now we're getting into the winter time. It's probably going to slow down a little bit. There's gonna be no produce or anything like that. I mean, I'm sure there still is a little bit, but not as much as there is now. You know, there's gonna be some things that aren't growing. And then once we get past this winter phase, we should be okay. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it picks back up. You know, like I said before in other videos, I'm gonna see how this goes as far as being out and what the loads look like and making money. And if I'm not making the money I want to make and I'm out here just being out here, and I haven't, you know, because I haven't gone home. I've only been home one day. There was one day, and that was because we were going towards San Antonio to pick up that Peterbilt for that recovery. That was the only reason, and we were out of time. And instead of stopping at the Love's because it was in the middle of the night, we just found a Walmart to park behind, and I went ahead and went home for the night, and then got back in the truck. So I haven't been home in 4 or 5 weeks. But that's a combination. I don't really consider that being solo, obviously. But because I don't really consider that, you know, being fully solo. I've only really been solo 2 weeks, you know, and so I'm trying to get, you know, onto the loads and get fitted in where you know. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'll give it like another couple months and we'll see what happens. But if I'm not making the money I want to make and all that, there's no sense of me being out here and being gone for weeks and weeks at a time. It's just not worth it. So, anyways. Guys, girls, I appreciate all the love and support. It is about 11 o'clock. I'm probably going to, I don't know what I'm going to do, to be honest with you. I'll probably play some games on my phone. I'll probably relax for a little bit. I just came back inside. The chair I was sitting in wasn't very comfortable, so maybe I might go back in there and sit up on top. You know, I got Wi-Fi. My last video I edited with, I guess, iMovie right off my phone, so I'm testing that to see how it works. That way I don't have to airdrop to my tablet or anything like that. I'm trying to figure out some different ways to get videos out a little quicker than having to like transfer the video, edit it, and then, you know, save it and then upload it. It's just, I'd rather do everything off of one thing, and that's why I really want to get that laptop. You know, I really need to get a computer so that way I can not only that I can play my own games, but I can do a lot more stuff, especially with videos and things like that. I'm like, again, I really want to get different camera views, but it's such a pain in the ass. Like, I've got to get more cameras, and, you know, it's just a long story. But anyways, I appreciate all the love and support. I just wanted to go over that with you guys, as far as like this rumor that people were being fired. It's just not true. To quit believing everything you read. So anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one.